Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Saira Mujtaba and with me is Anita Anand with the Midday News. The headlines. Cabinet approves allocation of additional food grains to all beneficiaries of National Food Security Act for 2 additional months of May and June. RBI proposes term liquidity facility of 50,000 crore rupees to ease access to emergency health services. TMC leader Mamata Banerjee takes oath as Chief Minister of West Bengal for the 3rd consecutive term. Supreme Court strikes down the law granting reservation to Marathas in government jobs and admissions. Nation registers 3,82,315 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Centre provides over 17 crore 2 lakh free vaccine doses to the states and union territories so far. Government identifies 581 sites for setting up medical oxygen plants in various states. Recovery rate in the national capital improves to 91.23% and positivity rate declines to 26.73%. Complete lockdown in Bihar and Odisha to contain spread of COVID. Uttar Pradesh launches a 5-day campaign for early detection of COVID patients in villages. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise, we appeal to our listeners to take all precautions and all those above 18 years of age to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Vaccination for persons between 18 and 44 years of age has begun at designated facilities. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. The Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi today gave its approval for allocation of additional food grains to all beneficiaries of National Food Security Act for 2 additional months of May and June this year. The announcement towards allocation of additional food grain under the 3rd phase of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana for another period of 2 months was made by the centre last month. The Cabinet today gave its ex post facto approval to this decision, under which 5 kilograms of rice or wheat per person per month will be given to about 80 crore beneficiaries in the country. The relief measure announced by the centre to ensure proper nutrition and food to every person will cost nearly 26,000 crores to it in terms of food subsidy. The Union Cabinet has also given approval to the signing of MOU between the External Affairs Ministry and Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office of the United Kingdom on Global Innovation Partnership. Through this MOU, India and UK have agreed to launch the Global Innovation Partnership. It will support Indian innovators to scale up their innovations, thereby helping them explore new markets and become self-sustainable. It will also foster the innovative ecosystem in India. The Union Cabinet has approved the signing of an MOU on migration and mobility partnership between India and the UK. It is aimed at liberalizing issuance of visas, promoting mobility of students, researchers and skilled professionals, and strengthening cooperation on issues related to irregular migration and human trafficking between the 2 sides.
RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das has said that the bank will continue to monitor the emerging situation and deploy all resources and instruments at its command in the service of the nation. He said that the devastating speed with which the virus affects different regions of the country has to be matched by swift-footed and wide-ranging actions. Addressing through various social media platforms this morning, the RBI Governor said that on the basis of continued assessment of the macroeconomic situation and financial market conditions, it proposes to term liquidity facilities of 50,000 crore rupees to ease access to emergency health services.
To boost provision of immediate liquidity for ramping up COVID-related healthcare infrastructure and services in the country, an on-tap liquidity window of rupees 50,000 crore with tenor of up to 3 years at the repo rate is being opened till March 31st.
Mr. Das said under the scheme, banks can provide fresh lending support to a wide range of entities.
Under the scheme, banks can provide fresh lending support to a wide ranging of entities including vaccine manufacturers, importers and suppliers of vaccine and priority medical devices, hospitals and dispensaries, pathology labs, manufacturers and suppliers of oxygen and ventilators, importers of vaccine and COVID-related drugs, logistics firms and also patients for treatment.
Mr. Das said the forecast of a normal monsoon by the IMD is expected to sustain rural demand and overall output in 2021-22 while also having a soothing impact on inflation pressures. He said CPI inflation edged up to 5.5% in March 2021 from 5.0% a month ago on the back of a pickup in food as well as fuel inflation while core inflation remained elevated. He also said the high-frequency food prices data for April 2021 from the Department of Consumer Affairs suggests further softening of prices of cereals and key vegetables while price pressures in pulses and edible oils remain. In West Bengal, TMC Chief Mamata Banerjee was sworn in as the Chief Minister of the state for the third consecutive term today. Governor Jagdeep Dhankar administered her the oath of office in secrecy at a simple ceremony held at the Raj Bhavan in Kolkata. The swearing-in of the newly elected MLAs will be held in the Assembly House in two phases tomorrow and the day after. The oath-taking ceremony at the Raj Bhavan was held following COVID protocol. More from our Kolkata correspondent.
After securing more than two-thirds majority in the recently concluded Assembly elections, Trinamool Congress Supremo Mamata Banerjee took oath as the Chief Minister of West Bengal this morning.
আমি মমতা ব্যানার্জি ঈশ্বরের নামে শপথ করিতেছি যে পশ্চিমবঙ্গ রাজ্যের মুখ্যমন্ত্রী রূপে আমার কর্তব্যসমূহ নিষ্ঠাপূর্বক এবং বিবেকসম্মতভাবে নির্বাহ করিব।
On her third consecutive term as the administrative head, Ms. Banerjee ensured to keep the oath-taking ceremony held in the throne hall of Raj Bhavan unostentatious in view of the pandemic. In her first term in 2011, Mamata walked all the way to the State Secretariat Writers Building after taking oath in Raj Bhavan, while in 2016, thousands of people congregated at Red Road to witness the grandiose ceremony held for the first time outside Raj Bhavan premises. However, due to the COVID situation, only selected dignitaries were present today to witness the historic event. Madhuparna Dhar Chaudhary, AIN News, Kolkata.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Mamata Banerjee on taking oath as West Bengal's Chief Minister. Ms. Banerjee has become the second woman in the country to be sworn in as the Chief Minister of any state consecutively for 3 terms after former Chief Minister of Delhi, Sheila Dikshit.
DMK Chief M.K. Stalin today met the State Governor Banwari Lal Purohit and staked claim to form the next government. DMK is all set to form the new government on the 7th of this month. The Supreme Court has set aside the Bombay High Court order and struck down the reservation to Marathas in government jobs and admissions in Maharashtra. The verdict was pronounced by a 5-judge constitutional bench headed by Justice Ashok Bhushan today. The court held that there were no exceptional circumstances justifying the grant of reservation to Marathas in excess of 50% ceiling limit as a socially and economically backward class. The court held in the judgment that neither the Gaikwad Commission nor the High Court have made out any situation for exceeding the ceiling of 50% reservation for the Marathas. The government has identified 581 sites for setting up of additional pressure swing adsorption PSA medical oxygen plants in various states. In a series of tweets, Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari said, National Highway Authority of India, NHAI, will be the nodal agency for executing civil and electrical work for these plants and will complete them on a war footing. He said our engineers will work with the doctors to ensure oxygen supply to needy patients. The minister said, like record speed in roads, NHAI will construct infrastructure at record speed to save the life of each and every Indian.
2 medical oxygen plants funded by PM CARES have been installed at AIIMS New Delhi and RML Hospital within a week. The 2 plants were swiftly airlifted from Coimbatore and installed yesterday. Both the plants will start supply of oxygen by this evening. In order to effectively address the high surge of COVID-19 cases in the country, PM CARES has allocated funds for the installation of 500 medical oxygen plants across the country. These plants are planned to be set up within 3 months. In all, 5 high-flow medical oxygen plants will be installed at AIIMS Trauma Center, Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital, RML, Safdarjung Hospital, Lady Hardinge Medical College, and AIIMS, Jhajjar, Haryana. The center has provided over 17 crore 2 lakh free vaccine doses to the states and union territories so far. Out of this, nearly 16 crore 8 lakh doses have been used by them, which also includes some wastage. The Union Health Ministry has informed that the states and union territories still have more than 94,48,000 doses available with them to be administered. It added that in the next 3 days, over 36 lakh COVID vaccine doses will be given to the states and union territories.
President Ramnath Kovind today condoled the demise of former head of the Malankara Masoma Syrian Church and the longest serving bishop in India, Dr. Philippos Mark Chrysostom. He said Dr. Philippos Mark Chrysostom, Masoma Valia Metropolitan, was one of the longest serving bishops in India. In his condolence message at the demise of the bishop, Mr. Kovind said he had touched millions with his religiosity, compassion and service, especially to the needy and downtrodden. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also said that Mr. Chrysostom will always be remembered for his great theological knowledge and his work towards alleviation of human suffering. Mark Chrysostom, who was 103 years old, passed away early this morning due to age-related ailments.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Cabinet approves allocation of additional food grains to all beneficiaries of National Food Security Act for 2 additional months of May and June. RBI proposes term liquidity facility of 50,000 crore rupees to ease access to emergency health services. TMC leader Mamata Banerjee takes oath as Chief Minister of West Bengal for the 3rd consecutive term. Supreme Court strikes down the law granting reservation to Marathas in government jobs and admissions. Nation registers 3,82,315 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Centre provides over 17 crore 2 lakh free vaccine doses to the states and union territories so far. Government identifies 581 sites for setting up medical oxygen plants in various states. Recovery rate in the national capital improves to 91.23% and positivity rate declines to 26.73%. Complete lockdown in Bihar and Odisha to contain spread of coronavirus. Uttar Pradesh launches a 5-day campaign for early detection of COVID patients in villages. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Midday News. The cumulative share of active COVID cases in the country has declined to comprise nearly 16.87% of the total reported cases. The Health Ministry has informed that currently over 34,87,000 people are reported to be suffering from the viral infection and are either hospitalized or are under home isolation. In the last 24 hours, the nation registered 3,82,315 new COVID cases. With this, the recovery rate witnessed marginal improvement to stand at 82.03%. Since yesterday, over 3,38,000 people have been discharged from hospitals or are reported to have been completely cured. So far, over 1,69 lakh people have recovered from the COVID-19 infection in the country. 10 states including Maharashtra, Karnataka, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Kerala continue to be the major hotspots of the viral pandemic. Nearly 75% of the new cases are reported from these 10 states. The Health Ministry has informed that 3,780 COVID-related deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative toll to 2,26,188. The recovery rate of COVID patients in the national capital witnessed considerable improvement today to stand at 91.23%. The COVID positivity rate has also declined in Delhi to be at 26.73%. The city recorded recovery of 18,788 patients in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of recovered patients to date to 11,24,771. A total of 19,953 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in the national capital during the last 24 hours. The Delhi government confirmed that 338 deaths were also reported in the last 24 hours, taking the total to 17,752.
Home Ministry has asked governments of states and union territories to put in place a plan of action to ensure that no fire incident occurs in any of the health facilities, particularly COVID-19 dedicated facilities, both in the government and the private sector. In a communication today to Chief Secretaries of States and Administrators of Union Territories, the Home Ministry highlighted that short-circuiting takes place either because of high temperatures, lack of maintenance or high load on the internal wirings. The Uttar Pradesh government has launched a 5-day campaign from today for early detection of COVID patients in the villages of the state. The move comes as there are apprehensions that COVID cases can rise in the villages because of the gatherings during panchayat elections and counting. Telangana reported 6,361 fresh COVID cases during the last 24 hours. The state government in its COVID bulletin stated that currently there are over 77,700 active cases in the state. The number of COVID cases reported so far in the state has gone up to 4,69,722. The recovery rate stands at 82.91%. During the past 24 hours, 8,126 more people recovered from the disease. This took the total number of recoveries in the state to over 3,89,000.
The Odisha government has imposed a statewide lockdown for 14 days beginning today. The lockdown will be effective till the 19th of this month. The state's COVID active caseload has jumped to 73,548 with the detection of 8,216 new cases yesterday. Our Bhubaneswar correspondent has filed this report.
The state had suddenly been confronted with daily highs of 8 to 10,000 new cases. The 14 days statewide lockdown has spared certain essential activities including health services, COVID test, vaccination and movement of goods among others. Petrol pumps, cooking gas, ATM and postal service have also been exempted from the lockdown. People will be allowed to walk down to the nearest roadside or street corner shops within 500 meters of their residence to purchase food items on all weekdays only between 6 in the morning to 12 noon. While marriage functions with a cap of 50 participants and funeral-related rituals with a maximum of 20 participants will be allowed. All sorts of social, religious, political, cultural, sports and entertainment-related congregations will remain barred during the period. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The Bihar government has imposed complete lockdown in the state till the 15th of this month to contain the spread of COVID. However, vaccination centers, banks and essential services will remain functional during the lockdown. As per the new guidelines, government offices and public corporations will remain closed. All educational institutions, private and commercial establishments will also remain closed. Cinema halls, shopping malls, gyms, stadiums and parks have also been closed. Movement of public transport except trains and flights has been stopped. Transport of emergency services has been allowed. However, ration shops, dairy vegetables and meat shops will remain open between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. In Bihar, the number of fresh COVID cases continue to rise rapidly. A record number of 14,794 cases were reported yesterday. The number of casualties due to the pandemic has gone up to 2,926. The positivity rate has gone up to about 16%.
Madhya Pradesh reported 12,236 fresh COVID cases yesterday, taking the tally to 6,12,666. The vaccination of people aged between 18 and 44 years of age is also being held in all the districts of the state from today. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
The state's positivity rate has come down to 19.1%. Active cases in the state stands at 86,639, while 11,249 people were recovered from infection yesterday. Archana Mundir, Deputy Director, State IEC Bureau, informed that vaccination will be done in a phased manner throughout the state as per the availability of vaccines. Vaccination days will be on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa today said that ministers are touring various districts and holding meetings with the administrations to streamline the process to test, track and treat COVID patients and carry out vaccination drive. More from our correspondent.
Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike BBMP has appointed a committee headed by Special Commissioner D. Randeep to take stock and indent details of each hospital in the city on the availability of oxygen. To improve the hospital bed allocation system in the city, the Member of Parliament Tejasvi Surya has sought the help of Infosys co-founder Nandan Nilekani. In a tweet today, the MP has thanked Nilekani for agreeing to revamp BBMP bed allocation software so that the system becomes tamper-proof. In another development, the state government has appointed a one-man commission under retired High Court Judge B.A. Patil to inquire into the incident of 24 deaths in Chamarajanagar District Hospital, allegedly due to the lack of oxygen. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
Tamil Nadu has registered more than 21,000 fresh cases of COVID-19. DMK leader M.K. Stalin has appealed to the people to stay safe at home and not to venture out without safety measures. Asking people to make it a movement, he said that restrictions were only to protect people from the pandemic.
In health-related development, 13 patients died this morning at Kanchipuram Government Hospital. The District Collector of Kanchipuram has said that an inquiry has been ordered into the incident and denied that it was due to lack of oxygen or COVID. Life has been thrown out of gear in COVID-positive families. Women in the families are struggling to cook and eat. Providing a solace to them is a new group of volunteers and organizations who supply food to these families. Vasudevan of Chileta Foods Private Limited is supplying food for the needy every day, free of cost. Speaking to AIR, he said that the food is available for minimal payment for the others. Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
In the Union Territory of Puducherry, the spike in the coronavirus infections continues as 1,819 more persons tested positive for the virus, taking the tally of infections to 65,117.
Presently, 11,717 active cases are registered in the UT. This includes 1,972 persons treated in hospitals and 9,745 cases under home isolation. 933 persons were discharged from the hospitals. 18 persons died today. This is the highest ever single-day tally from the outbreak of the COVID pandemic. The recovery rate of COVID patients dropped to 80.65% and the fatality rate stands at 1.36%. The aggregate of inoculated persons in the UT was 2,06,099, including 32,541 healthcare workers, 19,106 frontline staffs and 1,54,452 general public. Chandramohan, AIR News, Puducherry.
In Assam, the vaccination drive for persons aged between 18 and 44 will start on the 7th of this month. The Assam government has already announced that the vaccines would be provided free of cost to all eligible persons in this category. Assam has reported 4,475 positive cases during the last 24 hours. 41 persons succumbed to COVID-19.
Amid the second wave of coronavirus, the Defence Research and Development Organization, DRDO, is continuously engaged in creating a robust medical infrastructure and equipment. In an exclusive interview to AIR News, DRDO Chairman Dr. G. Satish Reddy said, DRDO is setting up several COVID-specific hospitals in various parts of the country to provide better healthcare facilities to COVID patients.
We are also establishing hospitals now at Rishikesh, Haldwani and in Jammu and Srinagar. So these are all the places where the hospital infrastructure is being brought in with oxygen facility and all other monitors, either related equipment. The Armed Forces Medical Services people are providing in majority of these hospitals the medical services, and we are taking the complete responsibility of running the hospital, providing all the support.
Mr. Reddy said DRDO is going to produce 150,000 mini oxygen cylinders for household needs.
We are providing a mini oxygen cylinder, which is a portable cylinder with automatic regulator and manual regulator, wherein the person can easily take oxygen based on the SpO2 levels, either automatic or non-automatic. We are going to produce about 1.5 lakh cylinders of that, so that we can provide it at households and centers and other places, so the load on the doctors will come down.
The complete interview with Mr. Reddy can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:15 p.m. onwards in the Spotlight program. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on the News on AIR app for updates.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said COVID is a shared problem for the world. Talking to a news agency, the minister said India gave medicines to US, Singapore and European countries and vaccines to some countries. On reported shift in policy of receiving aid from foreign countries, Dr. Jaishankar stated that India considers what one may describe aid as friendship. He added that people are going through a very difficult phase in the second wave of COVID-19, and as an external affairs minister, he will do everything which he had accumulated over the years to help the people of the country. A shipment of over 81,000 vials of remdesivir from the US arrived in Mumbai this morning. India has appreciated this, saying it elevates the India-US strategic partnership. Earlier, on the 2nd of May, India had received 125,000 vials of remdesivir from the US.
The Indian Army today rejected media reports which indicated that the deployment of Army medical assets in various COVID-19 hospitals has adversely affected its operational efficiency. It said that deployment of military medical professionals has been deliberated at the highest level. The Army clarified that there is no dilution in the operational preparedness of the Indian Armed Forces along both northern and western borders. Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal has instructed Chief Secretary and DGP to provide food and shelter to those who entered the state from West Bengal due to post-poll violence. In a tweet, Mr. Sonowal said that hundreds of people have come to Assam so far. Those who have come from Coach Bihar have taken shelter at Dhuri district in Assam. And now let's take a look at the weather report and forecast for today. National capital Delhi is having a partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder lightning. Maximum temperature will be around 41 degrees Celsius. Minimum was 25 degrees. Mumbai will have a partly cloudy sky. Maximum temperatures of around 35 degrees are expected, rising from a lower level of 26 degrees. Kolkata is having rain or thunder showers with strong gusty winds. The city temperature will move from a minimum of 23 degrees Celsius to a maximum of around 33 degrees. Chennai is witnessing a partly cloudy sky. The upper limit of temperature will be 35 degrees Celsius, while the lower limit was 28 degrees. Srinagar is facing thunderstorm with rain. Temperature will hover between 12 and 24 degrees Celsius. Jammu is having a partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards the evening or night. Temperature will rise from a minimum of 22 degrees Celsius to a maximum of around 35 degrees. Leh is witnessing partly cloudy sky and maximum temperature will be around 20 degrees Celsius, rising from minimum of 5 degrees. Gilgit is having generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will move from a minimum of 17 degrees to a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, sky is mostly cloudy today. Temperature will increase from a minimum of 13 degrees Celsius to a maximum of around 21 degrees. Dehradun is experiencing partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Upper limit of temperature will be around 33 degrees from minimum 20 degrees. And in Chandigarh, sky will be generally cloudy with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Temperature is likely to rise up to 37 degrees Celsius from 24 degrees. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Cabinet approves allocation of additional food grains to all beneficiaries of National Food Security Act for 2 additional months of May and June. RBI proposes term liquidity facility of 50,000 crore rupees to ease access to emergency health services. TMC leader Mamata Banerjee takes oath as Chief Minister of West Bengal for the 3rd consecutive term. Supreme Court strikes down the law granting reservation to Marathas in government jobs and admissions. Nation registers 3,82,315 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Centre provides over 17 crore 2 lakh free vaccine doses to the states and union territories so far. Government identifies 581 sites for setting up medical oxygen plants in various states. Recovery rate in the national capital improves to 91.23% and positivity rate declines to 26.73%. Complete lockdown in Bihar and Orissa to contain spread of coronavirus. And Uttar Pradesh launches a 5-day campaign for early detection of COVID patients in villages. And with that, we end the midday news.